Most people in life are looking for how to make a life worth living and retirement worth having. They're trying to figure this out as they build a career from the time that they enter education, pursue specialization in college, and literally then discover that what they studied for the passions of their life might not be exactly what they want to do for the rest of their life. Some people fall into careers and discover they're pretty good at it. Other people can barely hold a job for more than 2 years at a time because they're always looking for Mr. Goodbar, the next guy, the next object, the next property, the next thing, the next house, the next mortgage, the next opportunity to move forward. The problem is that rarely do they listen to the Lord speak to them. It is not always true, but sometimes they don't have the patience to follow through on what the Lord wishes for their life. In moments of time, we are totally 100% liable to the Lord for what we do and what we say that impacts other people's lives and the plans that God has made for them. The Lord has made plans for all his children, is what it clearly states in the Bible. And when I think of the passages, I know that all the pastors who listen and all the lay people who know the word know those words. That it literally says, "You do not know the plans I have made for you." But the problem is we can learn those plans prophetically. We can learn those plans in our hearts. We can hear those plans in our minds. But when we are defiant of the Lord's plan, we ruin our lives and that of our children. In life, we have moments of time to prove who we are in the house of the Lord. And the house of the Lord is not pleased with the world today. Otherwise, the pandemic would not be continuing. In life, we have moments of time to prove who we are. We prove who we are by the generosity of our souls. We prove who we are by the generosity of our gifts. We prove who we are by the generosity of what we understand from God about staying out of other people's lives and focusing on our own. In time, we learn who is who in the world. We also learn who is who in the Lord. Those in the Lord seem to have large ministries. They have gone through struggle. They have gone through strife. They've gone through public humiliation, but they somehow continue on. They continue to make proper channels, proper connections, proper networking opportunities, and they're able to move forward. Other people, however, interfere with the smallest of potatoes, the simplest of fish, or the smallest and the least of these. Isn't that interesting that white men are amongst the least type of people who will actually help someone who is impoverished? They might show up to volunteer at a food bank, but they don't necessarily think about helping someone they see in the city. They also don't think about helping someone they see on a street corner. It's fascinating to me, the marketing statistics of who helps those who are in struggle. And the people that help the most are usually those who are veterans or those who come from the black community who have a desire to be as professional as they can possibly be. Some of the humblest of white people who live just above the poverty line have also been very loving and kind. It's amazing how many people will take on the power of one to make a difference in someone's life and to not interfere with the person's right or choices. I can tell you many occasions of traveling to restaurants to talk about my homeless initiative, only to be met by a white male, usually between the ages of 50 and 60, who wants to decide what the homeless person will eat for supper. It is a vile abomination to the Lord to presume to lord over someone's cellular health, and yet they do it. A curious question is, what do you have to offer? And they'll throw out one item and say, that'll do for you, as opposed to being willing to show customer service to the greatest of capabilities, which is to say, we have the following menu items presently available, ready to go in the kitchen at pretty much an instantaneous cook opportunity. Which of these items that are plentiful and good for your health would be best for you in the way that you need your cells to be nourished today? You see, it takes an intelligent mind to know how to do this. What's fascinating to me is that the young men, particularly the young black men, who are between 20 and 30s, have been the most professional, the most caring, and the most kind, particularly when they are responsible for the humblest or the simplest of retail food chains. We are very lucky to have these gentlemen working, handling our food. We are unlucky when other people handle our food because they do not regard the food handling position. The truth is, one of the most important jobs we have in this world is not only farming and tending to our land and ensuring that foreign critters and foreign creatures and foreign various other wildlife is not being released into our land where we cannot be seeing them, but also to have people of the greatest integrity handling our food in grocery stores and restaurants. We have seen plenty of YouTube videos spoofing the stupidity of young people who are under 20 who thought they would do something to someone's food because they pissed them off. We do not need people like that in our restaurants. What we need are loving people who serve the land, serve the country, and are literally brought up from the youngest of ages, much like the little chefs we see on television who cook phenomenal meals, and you wonder, how the hell did these children of 8, 9, and 10 learn to cook like that? But someone in their home saw the soul of a chef and helped them to find their calling early in life so that they might produce a well-off future. The truth is, the feeding of people is like feeding of souls. And when a person is craving something, it may not always be what the body really truly needs. I have learned to call the Lord a party pooper at times because there are certain things I would love to eat, but then I discover that my angels say no. But what I know is that I have lost 16 inches off my waist by practicing my faith, using my faith fobs that I create, which are old-fashioned pendulums from a period of dowsing, which allows the scientists of the world to literally find water, oils, and fount lines. Sorry, I'm not going to say that quite well because I don't live in the countryside. But the truth is, we have to be aware of what the Heavenly Father can do. And in a person's life, when animals are drawn to an individual, it usually means their heart, their mind, and their soul is not only aligned with God, but so are the animals aligned with the Lord. A well-behaved animal is like a well-behaved child. They know the rules, they know the regulations, they know human life is important, and that they are supplements to it, not the end-all and most important thing in it. You see, we have to produce a life of love for a lifetime. And when the children are older, when they're grown and beyond the house, there has to be a relationship of conversation, of intimacy, of cultural awareness, of fun, of gathering, of hobbies, of intellectual comparativeness, and openly a willingness to talk. And when you choose someone who cannot converse, when you are a conversant soul, you will suffer at the end of your life. In life, we have moments of time to prove who we are in the house of the Lord, and too many pastors have ruined my rights to the marriage proposal of my lifetime. And I hold them personally accountable. The Lord will hold them liable. And in this moment of time, I say to you, sir, you failed God today.